Is Sonic Shuffle one of Sonic's most forgotten spin-offs, as flawed as people make it out to be? Or is there still some redeeming qualities in this game that can always be enjoyed?
What am I? I can't see! I don't know who I am.
Okay, that's not a flaw in the game. You just need to click A, dude.
Help!
Welcome to Hotline Sawani!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Before getting into Sonic Shuffle, I just want to quickly give a shout out to everyone so far who has joined the Discord server. Through the power of my editor, the Mad Hatter, your name should appear on the screen right now. A few quick honorable mentions to Dead Meme, Rookie, and the Random Guy for supplying our Discord chats with an endless supply of memes that will probably last me up to 4 years. And I've really been enjoying getting to know you guys and also receiving some feedback that I'm going to take into consideration for some of my new content. Some members like Sir Midnight, aka Primal, has also been sharing their artwork on the server. Check out his sketch of Groudon and Kyogre. It came out really good, and he's always posting some of his art, and this actually gave me the idea of maybe doing some sort of a weekly art contest. I just feel like an art contest would be a pretty cool idea to showcase our community. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Lastly, I want to highlight that you've been listening to a track made by Nullapart, who found the channel because we both enjoy remixing Sonic music. So check out his channel. I will be leaving a link in the description below. So if you want to get spotlighted in one of my videos, join the Discord community today. P.S. Hyper Mighty, aka Supersonic. Knuckles Chaotix is on the way. Now let's get back to the episode. Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome to Hotline Sawani, your direct source to gaming, horror, and remixes. My name is Jigsaw, and today we are going to be talking about Sonic Shuffle, a party game that released exclusively on the Sega Dreamcast. One interesting thing about this game is that Sonic Team co-developed this game with Hudson Soft, who of course, as we know, were the creators of the original Mario Party series. With the success of Mario Party, it was only natural that Sega want to capitalize on the party genre with its own mascot, and thus, Sonic Shuffle was born. Sonic Shuffle is one of the most misunderstood and flawed party games I have ever played. There's a lot of fun that you and your friends can have with this game. However, there's also a handful of flaws in the overall mechanics and structure of this game. Before I address the pros and cons of Sonic Shuffle, let me give you a quick rundown of the overall gameplay and how it works. Like Mario Party, the characters start off on a board-like map where the main objective is to collect the precious stones rather than stars. However, unlike Mario Party, this game does not use dice, it uses cards. Each player starts the game off with randomly given cards, and it is important to note that the players can also use other players' cards. The card system gives the players more flexibility to move in the direction they want to, and have more control on where they want to land. Spaces that players can land on include ring spaces, battle spaces, mini-events, mini-games, and character spaces. I know that was a really quick overview of the game, but I do not want to be redundant later on in this video, so I plan on getting into more detail on mini-events, force jewels, and battle spaces in the pros and cons section of the video. To kick off this analysis, let's start with the bad elements
I know your weak spot!
of Sega's party game, and begin with the overall mechanics and objective of the gameplay. I believe most players coming into Sonic Shuffle might consider the functions of the game confusing or complicated at first. Sonic Shuffle is one of those games where you need to play it more than once to get a full understanding of all the rules and of the objectives. This is a fault of the game's tutorial, as it does not do a good enough job explaining all the gimmicks needed to play the game. For instance, there are combo multipliers that can actually get achieved by landing on the same space multiple times. For instance, if I land on a blue ring space 2 times back to back, I get a 2 times bonus on the next movement card I use. Also, in my personal experience, when I'm playing with new players, spaces like the battle spaces and quest spaces might seem useless at first, as the game makes it clear that the main objective is to collect the precious stones, which later get converted to emblems. So technically, you can get no precious stones at all, but still win if you collected the most rings, won the most battles, completed the most quests, because all of these actions actually convert into emblems to determine the winner. I could continue to discuss how Eggman punishes the player furthest from the precious stone after another player wins it, or how there are over 38 different Force Jewels, which is Sonic Shuffle's form of items, but I think you get the point. Sonic Shuffle is like one of those board games where you and your friends need to wonder if everyone else is confused as you are about the rules, but when it clicks, it clicks. I by no means think that the many layers of Sonic Shuffle make it a bad experience, but it could seem intimidating to new players since the game does not do a good enough job explaining how in-depth a party game this can be.
I like shiny things.
Another negative I have with this game is how mini-games and monster battles could really prevent any progress from being made in your playthrough. For example, mini-games in Sonic Shuffle get activated by landing on a space. Now at first, this might not seem to be that big of an issue until you realize that next turn, Tails also lands on a minigame space, and then Amy, and then Knuckles, back to back. Minigames could really drag out the gameplay. And there's loading screens, which could be hard to tolerate as it disrupts the flow of the game. In my playthrough of Sonic Shuffle with friends, as the game began to come to a close, it was clear that people were all going out of their way not to land on these spaces because we were so close to finishing. Now we finally reach the part of this analysis where we discuss the most significant issue that I have with Sonic Shuffle. A problem so big, so frustrating, it has brought grown men to their knees in tears and makes them question their whole self-worth and intelligence. Of course, what I am talking about is Sonic Shuffle's AI, or as I like to call it, the Dark Souls of party games.
Stay tuned for our list of top 10 games that are similar to Dark Souls!
I see rings! I want rings!
The computer in Sonic Shuffle is so superhumanly smart and fortunate to know all of your cards and future locations of the precious stones. For those of you who haven't played Sonic Shuffles, let me just put that in perspective. Let's say you're playing Mario Party and you're Luigi, and Luigi is 3 spaces from the star, and all of a sudden the computer player, Wario, starts just making his way to another part of the map. You're not really sure why he took that route or why he's going that way, so you just get the star. And then all of a sudden, what would you know? Wario has the star now because it's 2 spaces from him. That's what that means. So, it's very difficult to see how the computer player thinks and feels, because not only does it know what cards all the other players have, it also knows where the location of the precious stones will be in the future. So there's kind of like a gap in that and how that works for players in the game. And of course, I use the word fortunate lightly because the computer clearly has an advantage over the player, even in easy mode. The website Sonic Fandom has a good breakdown of what the computer can do, so I will show you on the screen while I read a few of these points. Okay, so on easy mode, Dark Souls AI knows everyone's card and what number they are, but they cannot tell the difference between the S and the Eggman card. And in the mini games, the computer has a good understanding of what's going on and normally wins. Keep in mind, this is easy mode. The computer already knows all the cards in everyone's hands between 1 through 6. And I know what you're saying. The computer doesn't know if I have an S or an Eggman card. But in my personal experience, it didn't matter. Because when there were a lot of cards in play, and the computer made sure to use all the cards that everyone else needed and took it away to gain the advantage. This skill the computer possesses gets worse in normal mode, because if you need a 5 on your next turn to get to the Precious Stone before the computer, the AI is ruthless and it'll make sure to use it so you do not have the chance. So you're kind of in a rock and a hard place, if you will. But a rock and a hard place does not compare to hard mode, because once you activate hard mode, all is doomed, all is lost, because Sonic Shuffle's AI will start predicting the future and know where all future events are, all future Precious Stones are, and where Void is. Void allows you to steal the Precious Stone, steal a star. But do not worry, you'll be sure to compete with the computer in the minigames, right? One can only hope, because the computer can do each minigame perfectly to the frame. There's a minigame in Sonic Shuffle called Jump the Snake, and to this day, I cannot beat the computer because it's like
The Dark Souls of the Animal Kingdom!
Metal hurts flesh.
Alright, now that we talked about all the major cons with Sonic Shuffle, let us focus on some of the positivity and charm this game has to offer. First, I personally think this game looks great. Sonic Shuffle incorporates cel-shaded graphics that fit the game's style well and gives it a certain charm. And the soundtrack does a great job providing both upbeat and relaxing music that matches each theme of the map. But that is enough on the art direction and sound on this game. So what makes this game a blast amongst friends? It all boils down to strategy. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the computer can be a real pain. So this game shines when you have a full party of 4 players. Unlike Mario Party, I found myself paying closer attention to each player's turn, as you'll see what cards they have on their turn. So if you need a 4 coming up on your next turn, you better keep an eye out for which player has it. Warning: stealing other players' cards will destroy friendships and family bonds. Is it worth it? As long as you get the Precious Stone, right?
Well, kid, you made an entire town panic, you lost all your friends, and now you're going to juvenile hall for a week. Was it worth it?
Totally.
On top of the card system's general strategy and sabotage, Sonic Shuffle's characters have their abilities and character-specific spaces to consider. So for instance, there are spaces that allow Tails, Knuckles, and Amy to access shortcuts on the board that other characters usually cannot get to on different maps. Even if a character does not have a specific space on the board, each map has its own unique movement space that allows players to quickly get to other spots of the board if they need to. For instance, on Emerald Coast, there's a sea turtle or dolphin space that will take Sonic and his friends to another location on the board. Lastly, For characters other than Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, they are given an ability that typically deals with the cards you use in a consecutive turn. For instance, if you play as Sonic and use 2 of the same cards in a row, you will get a movement multiplier. It's little details like this that make the game shine when picking your character and map, as you'll quickly understand whose ability will give them an advantage or disadvantage during the game, and who you should probably steal cards from. Lastly, I really enjoy the accident late game segments. I felt these parts of the game help keep the map from not getting stale during your playthrough. The accident events essentially activate a minigame that either rewards or penalizes players' ring count. After the accident is over, it is possible for a part of the map to become inaccessible. For instance, on Firebird, the accident Rapid Climb and Sky Bridge will occur, and afterward, a part of the Firebird's wing will fall off, meaning that the area of the map is now closed off, you can't go there anymore. I think that gimmick helps the momentum of the game and keeps the board fresh. Additionally, as the game reaches close, the negative ring spaces become larger in certain areas, and there are more battle spaces that appear, which means more challenges. I think that one thing I do admire about this game is it's not just the players you're competing with, you're also at odds with the changing terrain and hurdles that the map throws your way. And as soon as the last precious stone is collected, a final minigame gets activated, the stage clear accident, that gives everybody one more chance to collect more rings and gain a competitive edge over their opponents. The abilities, accidents, increased red ring spaces, and stage clear minigames make you feel that when 4 people are playing this game, everyone has a chance at winning and losing. All in all, Sonic Shuffle is one of the most misunderstood and flawed party games I have ever played. Yes, it has its flaws, especially when it comes to its AI. Is it better than Mario Party? No, but once you and your friends understand how this party game works, there is a lot of enjoyment to be had with this Dreamcast exclusive. What did you think about Sonic Shuffle? What are some of your pros and cons about the game? Let me know in the comments below. This was Jigsaw, the host of Hotline Sewanee, signing out. Hey, if you enjoyed my video, please consider subscribing to Hotline Sewanee as we race towards 3,000 subscribers. If you want to connect with me, please do so on Twitter at Hotline Sewanee or join our Discord community. Also, please make sure you follow the Hotline Sewanee SoundCloud to listen to all our remixes on the go. All the links are in the description below. Thanks for watching, and as always, I appreciate your continued support.